Cancel culture. Cancel culture is never the answer. And I think a lot of people, particularly on the right side of the political aisle, will sit there and agree with that general statement with me, right? They'll say, yes, cancel culture is bad. It's never the answer. And then the second one of their enemies, someone on the left, is being canceled, or the second someone that they don't like is being canceled, and it might be for a reason that we can all get behind in terms of, like, they might have done something awful, and we might say, now the right's like, cancel. The issue with that is never the answer. And what do I mean by that? I mean that cancel culture is something where we sit there and we turn our nose up and we publicly condemn, wash our hands with someone. To me, that is never not disingenuous. If you have to do it publicly and you want to do it to where the most possible people see you do it, you're not doing that because you believe that something to be right or wrong, or you might partially have that in there. But the majority of the reason you're doing that is because you want other people to see that you are one of the good guys. And to me, that is extremely hypocritical, because there will come a time, and I don't care who you are or what kind of moral compass you think you live within, there will come a time where that turns on you. The reason Jordan Peterson's warning to H3H3, the Ethan Klein guy, the reason why that went over so well is because he was so spot on. He told him H3 deleted some of their podcasts together because I didn't know Peterson was such a bad guy, basically, or whatever it was. I can't even remember. And so he deleted some of the podcasts. Peterson then said, hey, they're going to come for you when you least expect it, basically. Or that's going to happen to you. If this is the kind of energy you dish out, this is the kind of energy that's going to come back to you. Now, the most recent one I'm thinking about, it's obviously you got Kyrie Irving in there, you got Ye, and those things are extremely important. But one that's not quite as important, but I think is important in terms of just for looking at the overall spectrum of where this is going. When you look at, there's a YouTuber, his name is True Jordy, I think his name is, and basically he came out, made a bad joke. He was really intending it to be at Andrew Tate because him and Andrew Tate don't like each other. He made a bad joke about Muslims, right? As soon as I heard it, I was like, ooh, that's not a good thing to say, right? Not something that I'm gonna get behind in any way. Then I saw basically Andrew Tate come out and say, you're gonna regret this, and then the cancellation happened. And what do I mean when I say cancellation? Specifically, I don't mean Muslims that were following Jordy or whatever, that said I'm no longer going to follow him, and didn't necessarily say that, but just did that. I don't mind that, and I don't mind them voicing their displeasure with his comment, his insensitive joke, I'll call it. What I've got a problem with is then we've got Gymshark, who is one of Jordy's sponsors. I think his name is Brian. True Jordy is Brian, so I'm gonna call him Brian. Gymshark is one of his sponsors, right? And I'm pretty sure he's like a big Gymshark guy or whatever, ambassador of the brand. And so Gymshark immediately releases a statement. It's like the next day or maybe later that night, and basically theirs was the epitome of cancel culture. It was, we do not condone. You could probably guess what the statement said. It was something just so predictable, right? And they said, we will be, and here was the part that I'm really referring to, we will be indefinitely suspending our relationship with, it's something along those lines. I mean, that exact wording, but something along those lines. We will be not working with True Gordy, Brian, whatever his name is. And so for me, that becomes very clearly we're washing our hands. We want you to know that we're the good guys. That you don't need to cast judgment on us. Basically, it's a way for a brand or whatever, personal brand or business brand, to just see that someone's falling down, and instead of lending a hand, and I'm not saying that you always should lend a hand, but I'm saying instead of lending a hand, they're saying, we're getting out of the way. We're going to let you fall. And we're going to let you fall not because we believe you should fall necessarily, but because we believe that we prioritize people seeing us, make sure that they know we're letting you fall. That's their prerogative. And that is the disingenuous aspect of it, in my opinion. I think that it would be more commendable, in my opinion at least, for, let's say this happened, right? And let's say I'm Gymshark. What if my immediate statement was this? What if I reached out to Brian right away, privately, and I said, tell me what's going on, and then he says, I'm really sorry. Now, by the way, his apology video was extremely cringe. It was like full of fake crying, and it was, at the end of it, he said, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It was bad, no doubt about it, right? But like, let's just say this. I'm Gymshark, I reach out to him, he says, I'm sorry, I know my apology video was awful. I might need to reevaluate how I handle things like this in the future, but in any case, I am sorry. It was a stupid joke, and I do not hate anyone. Okay, because I think that we can all probably get behind the idea that it's likely that he doesn't hate anyone, right? Meaning for their religion or whatever. It's most likely that's the case. What if I, as Gymshark, were to call him, he says he's sorry, he knows his apology video sucked, blah, blah, blah. And then I immediately make a public statement that says this. Everyone, and I don't even have to name him by name, but if I say everyone makes mistakes, at this time, Gymshark will not be cutting ties with anyone because we do believe in second chances. Something along that lines. If you wanted to go a little bit further with it, you could say that Brian himself is still a member, although we absolutely do not like what he said. Something along those lines. The point I'm making is this. That, to me, would be more genuine than the immediate, predictable, we cancel him because he sucks and he's racist and we're not. It's just like, to me, I just don't think that that's a productive thing. And I don't think that it's a productive thing, as I mentioned at the start of this, if you're on the right and you condemn cancel culture, but as soon as someone on the left does something and they're being canceled, you jump on them. And I don't think that it's the other way around it works either. I don't think that you should condone cancel culture when it is either in your best interest or not. So my response on Twitter to Gymshark and to people that defending, the people piling on in the canceling of Gordy, Brian, whatever, I don't know how you say his name, but the point is, I just don't think that's the move, right? And you've got like the Andrew Tate fan Twitter account that's like maybe friends with Tate, I don't know, and he's over there tweeting, basically, he's leading on the charge of cancel culture in regards to Brian. And to me, it's like, Tate was canceled. I love Andrew Tate. He was canceled, right, for basically nothing. And these people, their whole MO is like, man, F that, cancel culture sucks. Tate was canceled for no reason. He was canceled because he's a threat to the Matrix or whatever. And then you turn around and you encourage the cancelization of your enemy. To me, it's disingenuous. It's I just don't stand by it, right? Now, that doesn't mean that I agree or that I'm on Brian's side. I don't personally think jokes should be held to such a high standard of one's character. However, I didn't like it. I told you when I first heard that joke, I was like, ugh, it's a bad joke. But I think that's where we need to leave it. You know what I mean? And maybe Gymshark had said something like that. Like, we talked to him. He said it was a joke. We're not going to cancel a guy because he makes a bad joke. We don't, just because he made that joke, we don't stand with him on that joke. We don't feel that way about the Muslim people. And, just basically something along those lines. They don't even have to say this. How about just the statement could have read something as simple as, we talked to Brian, he said it was a joke. We don't like that joke. That's that, right? Like, we're not suspending our relationship with him. We're not canceling him. We're just letting you know, hey, just because one of our brand ambassadors said this, we don't stand by it, moving on. You know what I mean? I think that would be more productive to the overall conversation than it would be to cancel him. Like, you got Chase Bank over here closing Ye's bank account. Dude's got hundreds of millions of dollars in the account. He's made them a bunch of money, no doubt. And then all of a sudden, you want to say that he's anti-Semitic, and now you're canceling him, right? Kyrie Irving has now been forced into a position where he's either to forfeit tens of millions of dollars, or he's to basically get on his hands and knees and do exactly what the NBA and the Brooklyn Nets ask of him in regards to the Jewish people. To me, none of it's productive. And if you start with a smaller example like Brian, True, Jordy, and then you maximize that to Ye, neither are. Look, it starts at what you're doing to Jordy, and it ends where it not even just ends, but it progresses to the point of what you're doing to Ye and Kyrie Irving. So for me, cancel culture is 100% unequivocally never the answer. I don't wish it upon my worst enemy, because I understand that there's a ripple down effect that will undoubtedly get to me or people that I care about. If I were to engage in that, I can no longer defend them when it happens to them, because then you look like an ultimate hypocrite. So that's my take. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Subscribe and ring the bell. Talk to you guys later.